Friends, we're back. Small hiatus, but Everything Mayer is back. Your favorite John Mayer fan podcast. I'm your host, Tom Butwin, and in true John Mayer fashion, just when I thought there wasn't anything to talk about, we've got two of the best things we could possibly be talking about: a new live performance, as well as some clues to whether or not we're getting a tour, more shows, maybe a new album here in 2025. So stick around for that. As always, thank you to the members who stick by me even in a 3-week hiatus, which I will also tell you about. They already know, but in the after dinner mint, we'll get to where I've been. So first up, though, I think on everybody's mind today is, of course, John Mayer at Coachella. And, it's one of those things every year you kind of wonder, like, who's going to show up? Who's going to be the special guest? What's going to be the big major thing that happens? Of course, in our world here, Everything Mayer world, John showing up with Zedd is huge. Prior to him doing that, I was like floored by Benson Boone and Brian May doing Bohemian Rhapsody. And I think that's still like the pinnacle, the highlight for me, just because it was so cool. But also, of course, we've got John Mayer. He sat in with Zedd, did Automatic Yes, and he did New Light, both of which fit great. And just a side note, shout out to Zedd, who played drums on both of those songs. And it was great. Like hearing live drums. I mean, we hear it on New Light all the time with Aaron Sterling occasionally. And did Steve Jordan play that song? Steve Jordan might have played a little bit. Maybe there might have been one tour where we played that song, but it's mostly been Aaron Sterling. But we're used to hearing, live drums in a live situation on that. Not so much on something like Automatic Yes. And it made me feel like I wish there were live drums on the actual recording, but still a really cool song. Zedd is a great drummer, really good feel, and really cool. I mean, like it was, it's Mayer. He's done sit-ins at Coachella before. So it's not like the first time. Everybody in the guitar playing world is freaking out because he didn't have a real amplifier. He had a quad Cortex, which is I'll leave a link in the description here below. But essentially it's an amp modeler. It's a computer that has all of his pedals and his amps modeled in this little box. And it's very convenient for a festival set. He used something similar when he opened for Ed Sheeran. He also used something similar when he was at Coachella the first time with Khalid. So it just makes it easy. You don't have to truck a bunch of amps and pedals and you're on and off in 2 songs. Like it makes more sense to do it this way. But the guitar purists, the guitar tone purists will be weighing in on this. The last thing I'll say about the gear is that it just doesn't matter. When you're good, you're good. And if you're playing through something digital or not, it almost doesn't matter. If they know how to use the gear. So Mayer's playing is what always speaks through, and it did so here too. Just really cool. I mean, like both, nothing super unexpected in the arrangements of each of these songs. Both of them already have the opportunity, like for Mayer to stretch out a little bit. Even New Light has a guitar solo, which is really cool. Automatic Yes, like a big focal point of that song is the guitar, which is really cool, and it was very cool to see it live. It's fun. Zedd is not a new artist either. So it's not like that set was somebody who, like I said, Benson Boone he's relatively new, very young. Zedd's been around for a while. And, I always find it interesting, I was talking to some people over the weekend about just John Mayer in a younger demographic and what they associate with him, and it's fun. It's very interesting. It's still, if they're not super familiar with his catalog, it's still Your Body is a Wonderland. It's still Daughters. It's still Waiting on the World to Change, those big radio hits, which I think even people in my generation or older, if they're not really, if they haven't been to a show, if they haven't really been paying attention to what he's doing lately, that's their point of reference. I even had one person say, is he still releasing new music? So it's always kind of a gut check just to see. But then when I see him at something like Coachella, it's like, okay, well, if he was not relevant to some of the people at the festival, he's certainly relevant now. Maybe that was the first time somebody out there was like, oh, Your Body is a Wonderland guy can really rip on the guitar. I think it'd be crazy if somebody was having that thought in 2025, but it's possible. You never know. So John Mayer, Coachella, very cool. I woke up in the morning and I saw it on Instagram and I was like, I was kind of bleary eyed. I'm like, is this from this year or is this like another year? Like it looks like it's this year, but he wasn't wearing glasses. I've been seeing him wear glasses so often lately. I'm like, maybe it was a while ago. I don't know, but obviously it was this year. So super cool. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the Zedd performance. Anytime we get a Mayer live performance, Dead & Company, John Mayer, or John Mayer sitting in with somebody else, I always think it's very exciting. But the next best thing is John Mayer shows, his own shows. And we have one to look forward to right now, September 27th at Michigan Stadium with Zach Bryan. However, thanks to some sleuths, again, my man Miles on this one, pointing out that there was a podcast, and this podcast I don't know what to make of the podcast. It's called the Rascals Lounge Podcast, and the host, who covers anything, from what I can tell, anything from music to like gaming, streaming on Twitch to, I mean, just like it's kind of all over the place, like, you know, as far as topics go in this podcast. But one of his recent guests, the host from April 7th, is Lenny Castro. Now, if you don't know who Lenny Castro is, he was the percussionist on the Sob Rock tour, and I believe he also played on the actual Sob Rock album. His credits are insane. I mean, he's played with Toto, the Rolling Stones. I mean, like he's kind of like the guy when it comes to percussion. And of course, Mayer had him on stage with him for the Sob Rock tour. But he is interviewed on this show, the Rascals Lounge Podcast, and I think my guess is he said some things he wasn't supposed to quite yet. So as the internet does, the internet found this podcast and it showed up on the John Mayer Reddit as well. But thanks to Miles, for drawing my attention to it. But let's just listen to what Lenny has to say, and we'll come back and we'll just discuss, and we'll see what your interpretation and also what my interpretation of what he's telling us is. Some of it's very clear, some of it's not. We'll see.
I'm gonna do some gigs in September.
Oh, really?
Gigs, yeah, we got some gigs coming up in September. Thank God, because I love.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're doing this major gig in September. We're opening for Zach Bryan. There's this concert that they're doing. It's supposed to break a record as far as attendance. It's going to be in Michigan State Stadium in Michigan, somewhere in Michigan. It's supposed to be 107,000.
He was close. It's Michigan Stadium, not Michigan State. Some people in this state would have a real problem with that. I don't care.
That's going to break a record. I mean, I think the largest audience I've ever played to might be 60, 70, possibly.
67, but 100,000 people?
107,000. Who's that 7? No. 107,000 people. So that's.
I was gonna say, is Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi gonna be there? Because that's a lot of people.
Bro, man, it's gonna be crazy, and we're the opening act, of course.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so funny. But it's gonna be a fun gig, and we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do a couple of gigs here in LA before we do that, and then we're supposed to do some festival in Nashville after that. So we'll have a few gigs. I'm hoping, knock on wood, that he'll book some more stuff.
Oh, good.
For the end of the year, going into next year.
Did you catch that? So a couple of gigs here in LA, and then a festival in Nashville after September 27th. So this is interesting. And he's hoping he books some more gigs into next year. So, excuse me. We have some concrete things. Obviously, September 27th has been announced as concrete. I've been wondering, is he going to jump on any other shows with Zach Bryan? Because he's doing a lot of those stadium things. It doesn't, based on what Lenny's saying there, it doesn't sound like it, but wouldn't totally rule that out. There's a couple gigs in LA. So that's interesting. I'm wondering, what would those gigs be? Are they going to be, what's happening in LA? Somebody tell me out there. My first thought was maybe, you see bands do this. Like the most recent one I can think of is Linkin Park. before they set out on their tour that they're on right now, they did like a couple they're sort of one-off, but not quite one-off shows. I think a couple of them were actually at the Kia Forum to sort of test things out. And, maybe he'll do a couple of those. I don't know. Maybe he'll do something that's kind of special. Destination type shows. John's going to make me go back out to LA if he does that. I got to go. Got to see that. But, or it could be maybe he's opening or co-headlining, or maybe there's some other type of fire aid type thing that's happening. I don't know. I'm not in the know on that, but I found it interesting that he said that there's a couple of gigs coming up there, and then there's a festival in Nashville. So CMA Fest is coming up in June, I believe. So that doesn't line up, and plus Mayer wouldn't really be right for that genre or that type of festival anyway. So internet sleuths out there, what is happening after September 27th in Nashville that Mayer might be playing at? But the other thing that this tells us, not in just the fact that there are these gigs and maybe a little bit of where they are, when they are, but the fact that a percussionist like Lenny Castro is there means, in my mind, this is going to be a full band. And we've talked about that before for the September 27th show. Was he going to do solo? Was it going to be a smaller ensemble? I floated the idea of the Mark Lettieri group being his backing band. So I would guess it's probably going to be some familiar casts of characters that we've seen before, only because Lenny Castro is going to be on percussion, and having a percussionist means you're going to have a drummer. Having a drummer means you're going to have a bass player, and so on and so forth. It's not going to be a John Mayer trio show. It's going to be what I would guess as a full band thing, which is really cool. So then begs the question, what's he going to play? So he runs into what, if I was doing this, the issue would be I'm recording a new record. I probably have some music that I'm really excited about, and maybe some things I'd like to test in front of an audience. But the problem is he's not in front of his own audience, at least on September 27th. So the other shows, we don't know what they are. If they're John Mayer proper shows to where he's just like kind of testing some things out, I think we could get some new music on those. Do I think that we're going to get new music on, if the only show he was doing in 2025 was the Zach Bryan show? No, I think what you'll hear there is, some classics. I think you're going to get Gravity, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, maybe Belief, New Light for sure. For that audience, I think they can handle having him not play Your Body's a Wonderland. Although Your Body's a Wonderland with a full band these days is really cool. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So I think the only things that we can really surmise for sure are the fact that this is going to be a full band show on the 27th. Sounds like there's some other full band shows in LA and at least one festival in Nashville. And then, the hope from Lenny as well as the rest of us is that more shows will be booked. So we just don't know. We don't really know where the album is at in its process. I know it was delayed a little bit due to the LA fires. First week of February, they started recording. Where they are now, February, while it seems like it was a mile away, it's not that far away. So it just depends. He's got the Dead and Company residency happening in there too. So a lot going on in the Mayer sphere, in the Mayer world. Mayer sphere. See what I did there? So what is your interpretation of this podcast? I will say that was just a portion of the Mayer chat. Lenny was very complimentary of John Mayer and how he handles things. Talked a little bit about the the COVID restrictions and what went down with the Sob Rock tour due to that. And then off the top of the host was like, "Are you still doing that Myers thing?" And Lenny's like, "You mean John Mayer?" "Oh yeah. So it was like, I'm not going to try to I'm not going to rag on another podcast host, but I would, if I were him, I would have done a little more research because it's just, that's probably Lenny Castro's biggest, most recent gig outside of like Stones and Toto. John Mayer's pretty, I know we are obsessed in that world, but let's not have another Jack Black situation here where his name's being mispronounced. There I go again, getting all defensive, over our boy, John Mayer. All right, so the applause, as always, means that we have reached the after dinner mint. And you members know where I've been. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away, and had been sick for a long time. And you guys, the members, I posted in the members area. This is not. I'm not trying to sell sell memberships for inside information, like where I might be. But I thought they just they pay to be a part of the channel, and I so appreciate that. So I wanted them to know where I was. But I'm telling you all now. So that's where I've been. It was a bit of a couple slow weeks too in there with things going on. So I feel like this was a good time to come back. We're gearing up, and I'm brainstorming about where we're gonna go, and I feel like I'm gonna have to be very prepared, because despite John Mayer meeting me, we'll put it that way, I don't have any inside track as to what he's doing or when he's doing it. I wish I did. It would certainly help with planning the show. So John, if you're listening, you want to drop me a line and give me a heads up. It would help me balance this with the rest of my workload that I have for Premier Guitar and my own channel. But I feel like what's going to happen is it's going to be fast and furious. We're going to get an announcement, and I'm going to have to kind of pivot and figure out what we're going to do. We're going to stay the course, keep going as we speak. These shows are coming up. The Sphere's got a couple more weekends, and then we'll be done for 2025. I think they'll be back at in 2026. Would be my guess. If Bob Weir can do it, they'll do it. And but we're gonna have to. We'll see. It might not be a weekly thing. We might have to do. There's gonna be some emergency episodes if shows start popping up, or a tour is announced, or the album gets announced, or something. It's gonna be crazy. But I'm excited. I'm excited because we've built this, and I do say we because it's all of you who helped me do this. Subscribers, members, commenters, likers, dislikers, whatever the case may be. You push this forward, and I sincerely appreciate it. And we're going to. We've been building it thus far in kind of a vacuum of no new John Mayer music in the post sob rock era. But once we hit studio album number 9, and we get maybe a single, some announcements, some dates, album art, album names, those types of things, who's playing on it, what songs made it on the record, we are going to be off to the races, and I am so excited for that. We're approaching 50 episodes. I did mention doing a giveaway for 50 episodes. Unfortunately, the partner who was going to potentially hop on for that giveaway did not, so I'm not sure what we're going to do for the 50th yet. We'll see. It might be anticlimactic. Don't know. We'll see. We'll just have to make it to 100 then, if that's the case. If we can. But as long as Mayer's making music and making art and doing things, we will talk about it. And I so appreciate the time that you spend with me here after the last few weeks, which were tough. Personally, it is awesome to come back to this community and talk John Mayer, particularly on a day where we've got a live performance at a festival and then a little window into what might be coming down the line for live performances in 2025 and 2026. Until next time, my name is Tom Botwin. This is Everything Mayer, and I'll see you in the next one. Can I just say I nailed the end of that? Like right on time. Right on time. These radio people, right? I mean, how satisfying is that? We'll see you next time.